Coming up on BYU basketball with Mark Pope, it was a heartbreak followed by a bounce back as the Cougs split their weekend games with Gonzaga and Pepperdine in Provo. Now it's back on the road to the Bay Area for two big games, and we've got a big show with Coach Pope, Tanners Toolsen, and Tanners Hayhurst next on BYUtv.
This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried & Jensen. And now, your host, the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell.
All right, good evening once again, Cougar Nation. Welcome back inside Studio C at the BYU Broadcasting Building in Provo, Utah, for your weekly peek inside the BYU men's basketball program. Glad to have you with us, whether you're live or on demand via the BYUtv and BYU radio apps. Our social media hashtag, as always, is #PopeShow. Coming up on tonight's broadcast, we will, among other things, recap the Gonzaga and Pepperdine games from the Marriott Center this past weekend. Our film room segment features Richie Saunders. We'll look ahead to the road week at Santa Clara and San Francisco. Deep Blue gives us a deeper introduction to newcomer Jaxson Robinson. Tanners Toolsen and Tanners Hayhurst will join us live in studio. Plus, we'll have social media questions for the coach and the two Tanners, in addition to some fun and games and Cougar Hoops trivia. But we can't start the show without the man whose name is on the mugs. Let's say hello to the head coach of the Cougars, Mark Pope.
Hey, how are you? You all right? Okay. What's up, player?
Coach Pope.
How are you, man?
Good.
Good to see you.
He likes to do this. Scan the environment,
Yeah,
get a
that was
vibe,
awesome.
get a sense, get a feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a dashing young man in the back giving us a little thumbs up. Let's go. I like it. Thank you guys for coming tonight.
And the first question I always get to ask is, what's on Mark's mind?
I got two things tonight. One is, why do we not do karaoke on this show?
You know, I've been thinking about that myself
a
a lot lately. Because we're both so talented.
It was like 3 or 4 shows ago, and like we broke into Happy Birthday, and then Greg started going like
started harmonizing.
I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. And then we talked about it as a team today, and I got a bunch of really, really gifted singers on this team. And so I don't know, I'm pushing for like every show we have one person from the studio audience and the player do one like chorus of karaoke.
Well,
Could we get a karaoke machine in here and do the whole thing? We have a riff off, studio audience versus the player, winner gets a new car.
I was with you until, but producer Hema has told me in my ear that he's working on it.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let's go.
So it's already in the
That
works.
gets me super excited.
Well, we had two special nights at the Marriott Center.
Leanne is just like, what?
What is he doing?
Is he talking about?
Which is kind of par for the course on this thing.
Yes.
Man alive. BYU went 1-1 last week, but the two evenings we had together as a fan base and people who support the program, pretty remarkable. I thought two special nights.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to check the stats on this, but I'm curious to know if there's any team in the country. We had, give or take, 34,000 fans in the Marriott Center in 2 nights. I wonder if there's any school in the country that had that many fans show up to their home games over the course of the week. It was really special. And takeaway lesson for us, this sports is such a great teacher, but my guys had a chance to really learn that you never want to let what almost was get in the way of what you can make happen, right, in the future. And they did a great job. So it was a really fun week last week. It was a gut-wrenching, tough Thursday, and then a much better Saturday.
By the way, the two crowds BYU had on your point there, 18,000, 15,000 roughly. So the number's right around there, and it moved BYU to 14th in national average attendance. So you're a non-P5 program for the time being in the national top 15 in crowds.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you. I mean, thank you. Like, it is so awesome to walk into this Marriott Center. And the fact that we go and get there and we suffered together for the last 17 seconds of the Gonzaga game and celebrated together for the whole Pepperdine game, and it's fun. Thank you guys for being there. It's pretty magic.
Yeah, those 2-day turnarounds never easy, but then shaking off Thursday's disappointment. You're right back. Like next day, it's a new scout, it's a new plan, and you really have to mentally flip a switch, which is hard.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the devastation these guys felt because they, really what happened to us in the last 17 seconds of that game is we're got it. We are going to win this game Thursday night. And we lost our minds. And so to go from that and have to refocus. If you've ever had a major setback in your life that was very, very public and super emotional, if you've ever felt what it feels like to, which we all have, to wake up the next morning and just want to do anything else in the entire world besides have to get out of bed and face the world, and then have that idea keep creeping back in your mind throughout the next 24 hours and have to keep staving it off, keep fighting it off. That's what our guys did really successfully, and it's an unbelievable learning lesson.
Yeah, so the chance to turn around and beat Pepperdine was kind of the metaphorical splash of cold water to get you set right. Speaking of splashes of cold water, different places to go with the show, but I want to hit something really quick. What is going on with Trevin Nell yesterday at the Marriott Center?
Yeah, so we finished.
That's the splash of cold water I'm talking about. That's an entire dump on the head of our guy Trevin. What's going on there?
We closed practice by having the scout team versus the starters, just a one possession game, and whoever won, we jumped in our tandem zone with the starters, and the scout team had a chance to score, and whoever won that one possession, the loser had to run up and touch the top of the Marriott Center and come back down. And it took that team so long to get up and down that we had time to form a welcoming line. And our managers and GAs grabbed the cooler. And normally you hold it above them. They just threw it right over top of Trev's head. It was awesome. But that was real ice water. It was cold.
He's just recovering from surgery. Let's give the guy a break here, not try and maybe wreck his shoulder with the...
Yes.
How's he coming along, by the way?
He's doing great. He actually was in one live defensive possession in a press drill today. So he made it through one, 7-second defensive possession. I was super excited about that.
The later we get in the season, is it still okay to hope that he returns at some point this season, or at some point you go,
he's 3 weeks away from 6 months, which is kind of the marker. And so as he gets closer, and depending on how comfortable he gets, we'll try and figure out the best thing to do.
All right, let's take a look at what happened last week before we look ahead to the week ahead. Last week's 2-game slate began with Gonzaga making its last ever WCC trip to Provo. And this was a classic back and forth affair. Great game, tough finish. Highlights and stats presented by Intermountain Healthcare. And Drew Timme does what Drew Timme tends to do. But I thought their best player early, Anton Watson, really gave him a good start.
Yeah, he was really problematic for us. He got us in a couple high-low isolations, a couple duck-ins, and it's a tough matchup for us, as physical as he was. But we kind of found some answers for him on the defensive end throughout the game. But he caused some real problems for us when he was on the defensive end. He had a great game.
Jaxson Robinson tied the game midway through the first half. Gonzaga pulls away a little bit, but you guys hung in there.
Yeah, there were several times where I felt like the game could have got away from us. I thought our guys, we made shots, which was really, really important. We had some terrific pace. Guys were really unselfish with each other, and so we hung in there and actually put together a great run, in the last, 10 minutes of the game. In transition, our unselfishness was awesome. You just see, we were getting great thrust the whole game, and it really paid off for us and guys delivering on open shots.
BYU with a 10-point lead under 5 to play. Gonzaga came right back those seconds after you got the 10-point lead.
Yeah, and these threes were killers, actually. So there were 4 threes down the stretch that really hurt us. None more disappointing than that one to take the lead. And the Zags did what they've done. You have to give them credit. They made huge shots in the crucial stretch, the waning moments of the game, and ended up coming away with a win.
Now, that was their 3rd straight WCC game that were all on the road and all in which they had to come back from down double digits in someone else's building.
Yeah, and this road trip that we're going on this week, I think is the toughest road trip in the league this season. Is Santa Clara, San Francisco, back to back, and they had actually just completed that before they got to the Marriott Center, and so they did. They managed to win all 3 of them.
So Julian Strother made that huge three to give the Zags the lead, 10 seconds to play. You came out of a timeout with a play that had some options. You want to walk us through this a little bit?
Yeah, well, first of all, Julian Strother, you saw the first three he made was super impressive. The transition three, we were up 10, where we had things rolling, he kind of quieted it. And we went to a go game. We're trying to get the ball into Dallin, but they denied him, and Rudy got it, and Spencer did an unbelievable job turning the floor to get a catch and turned off the handoff. They switched, and then, this Watson, like I said, as effective as he was offensively, he made a great switch for a 4-man on Spence and got a hand on the ball, and it ended up there were guys open. We just didn't have possession of the ball and couldn't make the play, and it was a terrific defensive play by a guy who had an outstanding night on the defensive end for a power forward to be able to have as much impact as he did throughout the game, switching on to Dallin Hall and getting deflections at the rim off penetration and managed our guys in the post, and then coming up with that huge play. He was absolutely terrific.
BYU was seconds away from ending a bunch of Gonzaga streaks. One of the most impressive they had going, which now is extended to, they have 93 consecutive wins over unranked teams.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That's crazy. All right, so a gut punch of a loss on Thursday, leading into Saturday's home game with Pepperdine. A very potent team, Pepperdine, and you had to be very good offensively to keep pace with these guys, especially second half on Saturday.
You could have depressed the studio audiences right now. Was anybody at the game? Did anybody go to the game? Yeah, so look, I kid you not, if you scan the crowd, everybody is almost in tears.
But then there was this, a nice bounce back.
Yes, it was. And you know what, again, 15,000 people showed up, and the gym felt great. And it was, this is a really, really potent offensive team. Their starting 3 is only a sophomore, but he's getting talked about as maybe even sliding into the NBA lottery pick status. And so we knew that we're going to have to find a way to guard and really play in transition. The guys answered the bell pretty well.
First half was as good as anyone's played Pepperdine defensively, kept them down to well below their average. Second half, they began to look a little more like they had been in games leading up to you.
Yeah, Mallet got going. He put 31 on us at Pepperdine last year.
Yep. Career high still for him.
Really explosive 2-guard when him and Alex Barcelo were just going at each other. And he came alive in the second half and caused some problems. And Max came alive a little bit in the second half. And then really what was a problem for us was this George Zedek. They started taking advantage of
Jan Zedek.
Jan Zedek.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
George is the dad you played against.
Started taking advantage of us switching ball screens and kind of punishing the post a little bit, both off scoring and making plays. And so we kind of had to manage some situations in the second half. The guys answered the bell and did what we had to do.
BYU had that halftime lead of double digits, and it got crept into. Wade's made it a one-possession game a number of times the second half, and you had a great answer every time.
Yep. Richie Saunders had a big night. I thought he was absolutely tremendous.
13 points, best night in a while.
Yeah, came with a couple of huge rebounds, was really, really solid on the defensive end, was great playing off 2 feet.
One of the biggest shots of the night there, Spence.
Yeah, and Spence has been just playing unbelievable basketball also, both sides of the ball. Actually, Spencer in the first half was a 7 deflection guy in the first half. If you're not familiar with that is an incredible number. He just made such an impact on the game in the first half defensively. It was really incredible.
And of those deflections, 4 were officially turned into steals, and BYU wins it by 10. Again, 91 points, and that's the most BYU scored against a Division I opponent this season. Second chance points category, which wasn't the strength in the Gonzaga game, flipped around and was more like yourselves on Saturday.
Well, if there's anybody in here that's an accountant, if you could find some way to legally take 2 of those 91 points from Pepperdine and put them in that Gonzaga game, we would be 2-0. Can anybody manage that, please? I would be super grateful.
Be really appreciative. Yeah. Foose in this game, near double-double, 19 points, 9 rebounds. He makes 8 of his 12 shots from the field. Great free throw night again. 79% free throw shooter is Fousseyni Traoré right now. And defensively, there's one of his blocks. He had 8 block shots in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
He had 8 block shots in his first 16 games.
Yeah.
So what do you account for that? The fact that he's much more...
that first block we just saw, he was actually engaged in a ball screen. So he was a first things first in a weak ball screen, and they hit the roll, and he actually had to recover and make that play in the air. He is actually playing so much more mobile on the defensive end. It's been a huge push to have him and Atiki we talk to him every day about
guarding like guards.
Guarding like guards, not guarding like centers. And he's made a huge jump in his work on the defensive end, his intensity, his mobility, and we're seeing it in the results.
I want to talk more about Spencer Johnson. We hit him in the highlight. He's now played in 12 games, missed 6. He's played in 12. He's scored in double figures in 8 of those 12. And against Pepperdine, he goes 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 steals. And appreciate his shooting numbers. He's 52% from the field at his position and 47% from the arc. So integral to what you want to get done offensively. Yeah,
and he's making smart plays too. He's getting the ball out of his hands really fast and really comfortably. He's super, super confident right now. He's been able to score off the bounce at the rim, and he's also shooting the ball at a really, really high level. And of course, it all is laid on the foundation of his defensive work. I'm telling you, what we get to watch in him is I think back to guys like Jackson Emery, right? Who some of the great defensive players that have played at BYU. And Spencer Johnson is working his way into that category, one of the truly elite defensive players that ever played at BYU, and he's having a huge impact for us.
Something else that pops up in those video highlights, no knee brace.
Yep.
So he's feeling good.
Yes.
And playing really well. Time now to go inside the film room for a true insider's perspective on some of the biggest plays from our last game. And today, Jarom Jordan sits down with BYU freshman Richie Saunders, who had a great game on Saturday. Let's hear from Jarom and Richie inside the film room.
All right, what did it take Saturday to get up for that game against Pepperdine after Thursday's loss to Gonzaga?
It was a hard, 24 hours after. We talk so much about getting better every day, and coaches really preach that a lot, especially because we had such a quick turnaround coming from Gonzaga. But we came in and had a really good practice the day after, where we were all just dialed in and ready to move on and do something about the loss, because it's not like you can really go back in time and change it. But we were just so ready to get on the floor again and be able to at least do something a little bit for it.
And you guys did on Saturday, and the film showed. Let's break down some of this. First half, about 4 minutes left. You finished really well with the left hand, and we see it here again.
I think the little push is something I've learned from Gideon George. As I'm going down, I see Gideon, my guy, he gives me a good lane, but the little push through with the right hand is a Gideon George move right there. I think he does super well.
Is the left hand a thing you've worked on a lot to get this comfortable?
Yeah, we work legitimately twice a day on different finishing stuff like this. And Coach Cahill has been huge for me in this regard, just really working and preaching getting to 2 feet. And I was fortunate enough to have this open lane right here.
Okay, about a minute later, right-handed floater.
This is a BYU special, the quick. D-Hall luckily finds me, and then I just got to show Foose how to do it, and so I had to get it on film for him.
He's done it a couple times. You just want to see it
once or twice, but no, he just needed to see it from somebody else,
Okay, into the second half. Game's in the balance here. Pepperdine's really challenging you guys. Transition 3 from Jaxson.
It's been a little bit emotional, coming back from my mission. It's a little frustrating how my shot is maybe taking a little bit longer than I would have hoped to get back in rhythm. This last couple weeks, me and Coach Cahill have really working. We've been in the gym every morning, just working on the fundamentals and just the rhythm and the flowness, if that's the word, of the shot. And it was like a little breath of fresh air right here.
That right-handed single dribble to kind of get it into your shooting pocket was nice. And then the next play, it looks like you are ready for this ball as soon as Jaxson Robinson can get it to you. And it's the next possession. Back-to-back threes. What was that like?
This felt super good. It's, again, I'm learning so much this year. And one of the biggest things is just patience. Up and down, you just have to be patient.
I don't know about you, but when I play sports, I don't really hear anything. When you make a 3 in front of your bench, can you hear them?
Yeah, no, they go crazy. It's funny because I love it because when Jaxson will hit a 3 in the corner, he'll turn around and just talk to the bench. But yeah, no, they go crazy. It's so fun.
And that camaraderie is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, later in the game, offensive rebound and putback. It felt like Pepperdine just didn't want to defend here?
finally I got one, like, I would crash, but, I somehow came up with it, I guess.
Nice performance in this game against Pepperdine. Now a big week against Santa Clara and San Francisco. What will it take to come home with a couple of victories?
Just grit. I think we're gonna have to do what we do. It's just getting better. And Santa Clara is a very strong and talented team. And we just have to really work again and on transition defense. If we can be super good in transition defense and rebound, we'll be all right. But this is a very big road trip for us.
Okay, good luck in the Bay Area.
Thank you.
All right, the present's really good for Richie, and the future's really bright.
Yes. You're a wordsmith.
I do my best.
So I'm contending that flowness of your shot is not a word.
We may have to introduce it to the vocabulary, though.
But if the shots are going in, man, I'm going to start using it. I'm going to be like, Richie Saunders' flowness was fire tonight.
Yes.
You will hear me say that if he keeps making shots. The flowness, that will become a word.
Tonight's verbiage bonus is flowness. All right, for your day-to-day Cougar Sports play-by-play, watch BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan, weekdays noon Eastern on BYUtv and BYU Radio. When we come back, we'll have a Deep Blue feature on Jaxson Robinson. And special guests, Tanners Toolsen and Tanner Hayhurst, the two Tanners, joining us in studio as BYU basketball with Mark Pope continues. Stay with us.
BYU basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years. And by Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Welcome back to BYU basketball with Mark Pope. Time now to go close up with the Cougs as we learn more about their lives on and off the court. And today we discover that after stops at Texas A&M and Arkansas, Jaxson Robinson has found a home at BYU in this week's edition of Deep Blue.
This is going to sound crazy, but when Jaxson was 2, I bought him a little tight basketball goal and I put it together. I had a little orange ball that came with it, and he picked it up and shot it with perfect form the first time. I mean, like absolutely perfect form. So I gave it back to him and he shot it again. And I picked up the phone and called my dad and said, "You have to come over here and see this." And since then, he's just always loved basketball.
It's a big basketball family. I come from a lot of hoopers.
He played on his first team when he was 4, and the coach after the season was like, "You guys need to put him on a real team." Because he knows what he's doing. He could dribble, he could shoot a layup. So from a very early age, he loved it, and he obviously had some natural talent for it.
My grandma, she was a Hall of Famer. My aunt, she went to Southeastern. She was also a Hall of Famer. My mom went there after transferring from Missouri State. She became a Hall of Famer also.
I think it was great for him as a basketball player. He had lots of people he could look to for advice, and even though he might not see it as help, we often give him critical feedback that he might not love to hear, but we give it to him anyway because we know it's best for him.
And so it's been really neat to see, right, that confidence that Jax has in his game and how that has grown, right, over the years and where we're able to see him, but also that he understands the game at a really high level because he's been taught really, really well from a couple of strong women in his life.
Just the motivation of my family and friends and everything, it just kept me going, and now I'm here today.
Freshman year was tough. He graduated high school a year early, so he went to Texas A&M as a 17-year-old.
COVID had just hit. We couldn't get on campus, so I didn't have a summer with my fellow teammates and my coaches.
It's tough to leave your kids somewhere and hope they do all right. But I mean, I knew he'd be all right, but I don't like him struggling, things like that. So it was tough down there at Texas to see him in that situation.
It was just difficult kind of adjusting to college from high school so fast. It was a fast transition. During the season, some of us kept getting COVID, things like that. And it was just rough. We finished last in the SEC, so.
I think that team just really struggled to find themselves and to create any kind of bonds just based on the fact that they were spending no time together other than when they were practicing. I think the stress was hard for the players, the stress was hard on the coaching staff, and ultimately it just led to Jaxson just not finding a great fit.
Just kind of going through that struggle, though, I think it kind of made me who I am. Just going through those ups and downs, it taught me a lot of lessons.
And then after his first year transfer to Arkansas, really good program, didn't really have the opportunity that he was seeking. And then year 3.
We went to dinner with Coach Pope, most of the coaching staff, and Trevin and Trey. And Trevin told the coaches, you guys leave. They want to just let them ask us questions without you here listening, so we can be totally honest and they don't feel like they can't ask. And so the coaches left for like 45 minutes and left us with those two. And we had a very open and honest dialogue with them, and they told us all about what the team's goals are, kind of how they interact with one another, how the coaches are. And they said they're exactly who they are all the time. This is exactly how they are. And that was just a really good feeling, because Jaxson was looking for a place to go where he felt valued as a player and also as a person, and what place he could build relationships with the coaches that had been something he'd been lacking.
I think he's found a home here where we certainly love having him here, and I think he fits in here perfectly.
We take a lot of pride in helping, right, Jaxson, all of our guys, right, grow in every aspect of their life. We believe that he can grow as a basketball player in a lot of ways. We also believe that he can grow off the court through his academic experience, through his NIL experience, and through every other experience that he has here in the state of Utah at BYU, so that he can go forth and serve and be the best human being he can be when he finishes time here at BYU.
Jaxson's someone who is very unselfish. He has such a kind heart. And he's also very determined. So when you have someone who has such a big focus on giving back to people and doing the right thing in situations, and then you see someone who's so focused, it's someone who wants to make a difference. So he sees something that could be unjust or someone struggling in a situation, and he really does everything he can to try to make that situation better for them. And I think it's been really neat to watch him from a very early age think about things that I don't think most kids think about, and then try to do what he can to help in those situations.
I feel like a lot of people have sacrificed for me to be where I'm at, so the support that I got, I can give it back to whoever. I just want to be able to return the favor at some point.
Well, it was so cool to have Jaxson on the show with us here last week, and then to learn even more about his story. And man, the hope is that he feels he's found a fit, because fit was a lot about that feature we just saw.
Yeah, it was. And he is getting better and better and better. And he's you know, it's hard to listen, new places are hard, and he is, and sometimes guys stub their toe a couple times and they start to fade away into the background, and he hasn't. He keeps pushing through, and you know, to his credit and a heavy weight on his shoulders, his ceiling is ridiculously high. And so he's been good for us. He has a chance to turn into a spectacular basketball player, and it's just going to be a matter of his work and how hungry he is. And so far, he's shown a lot of work and a lot of hunger. So high hopes for Jaxson. Grateful for what he's done for us.
And as much as he's been around already at a high level, after this year, he'll still have 2 years with you, Willie, up to 2 years with you?
He's a COVID sophomore right now. He's just a baby. So he does, doesn't he? Like, he just looks like he's young, doesn't he? And so he's actually, you know, without the COVID year, he's actually the age of a sophomore normally right now, because he started so early. And so, man, we're grateful to have him. Can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah, and as you get closer to this transition to your new conference, the phrase, you know, Big 12 player comes up. He feels a lot of aspects of his game, if you watch the Big 12 now, like he could fit right in that mix.
Yes, especially with the player that he is trying to become. He definitely fits in, man. He really fits.
All right, our special guests tonight are making their first appearance on the Pope Show. That's one distinction they share. Another is their first name. Please welcome into Studio C, Tanners Toolsen and Hayhurst. Hayhurst. Coach, over here.
How you doing?
Tanners Toolsen, hello.
Good to see you.
Tanners Hayhurst, hello. You guys both been over there. Coach Pope, head over here.
Good job on the matching gear, guys. And the fresh cut.
Yes, sir. Had to.
Let's go.
Unplanned.
Look at this. I mean, it's almost as if this was like a planned setup here. This is a fantastic. Great job. All right, guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, let's maybe talk about some other distinctions you guys share besides your first name. Well, beyond that, you guys live together?
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your other roommate or roommates?
We room with Dallin.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You good guy?
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of fun in our house.
Okay. You were both, they were notable high school scorers.
Yes, they were.
As high school seniors, 22, 23 points a game for both these guys. Eagle, Idaho, Vancouver, Washington. Let's hit Tanner Toolsen first.
I just broke the chair, Greg.
I can't. That's not that bad a break. There we go. These chairs have handled the biggest football players alive, and they'll handle Mark Pope tonight, no doubt about that. All right, the name is familiar. It's a family tie. For those that aren't super familiar, the Toolsens who played at BYU, who are they?
Oh my gosh, I think the Toolsen name has been around BYU for at least 400 years, right? Like, I think everyone remembers Toolsens from way back when, but I think it's super cool just to be here and to be able to continue to live on the name of the Toolsens at BYU, and I'm excited to make my own mark.
But wait, who are the Toolsens?
The Toolsens are competitive, fiery.
What are their names?
The names?
Your dad?
Oh my gosh. Okay,
He
yes.
just set you up to give your dad a giant shout out. And you just, Andy, I am so sorry, man. I should have prepped it before we started.
That's on me. That's on me. Andy Toolsen. All right. I think everyone on their dog in Provo knows Andy Toolsen. I swear, everyone I talked to. But he was a BYU legend. He's my dad, obviously, and he's been one of the best athletes and competitors that I know growing up. He's helped me through a lot, helped me develop my shot, helped me through everything basketball-wise, and he's just always been there for me no matter what happens. He says, no matter what happens with basketball, I'll always love you, and I'll always be here for you. So I think that's super special.
You had a sister compete here. You had a cousin compete here. Who are they?
Yeah, so I had my older sister, Taryn, swam here for 4 years. And I had a second cousin, Jake, who played here not too long ago.
Right. Your first team.
Yes.
Your first BYU
Yes.
team. All right, and Tanner Hayhurst.
Hold on. You, Andy, and Jake go on the court right now. Who's winning one-on-one? Say it here on national television. There's no backtracking what you answer.
I'm winning, Coach.
Okay.
I'm winning.
Jake, the guy that has been thrown down, brother.
Your dad.
Jake will probably be in the gym tomorrow. I bet you he shows up to practice.
He shows up tomorrow.
I heard what Tanner said. Your father played at Weber State.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he just played a season there, and then he tore his patellar tendon, and so he had to hang it up when he came back from his mission, sadly.
Okay, so those who are watching going, man, Tanner Toolsen I've seen play. I haven't seen Tanner Hayhurst play. You're going to redshirt this year? Is that what the decision is?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a bit about your path to BYU. Again, you were a high school stud in Idaho, scored a ton of points. There were interest from other schools. What led you here?
Just the family culture here at BYU, the winning tradition. Obviously, Coach Pope and the staff have been really good to me, and it's really felt like home since we've been here since, I guess, June when me and Thule got on campus. So super hyped to be here.
You know, we actually don't refer to Tanner as Tanner.
That one.
You know, Tanner.
This one?
Hayhurst. Yeah, so when you see Tanner, you have permission to refer to him as the Eagle. That's what he's called on our team. He is the Eagle. And some people think it's because he's from Eagle, Idaho. That is not the case. The case is that the team has unanimously voted he's the most likely person on the team to become the president of the United States.
I don't know about that. Hao Dong's probably the only person that would think that.
That'll be his Secret Service name.
The Eagle.
The Eagle. The Eagle is in flight. But meantime, I thought you meant because no one. I hear Thule more than I hear Tanner.
Thule, yeah. We actually don't call either of them Tanner.
It's too hard. They're both called Tanner, but they're not. You guys served missions in SEC country, right? Florida for you and Louisiana for you, right? And your mission experiences in a nutshell, how'd it go?
In a nutshell, I grew a lot, learned a lot, grew close to my Savior, which is the main objective, and helped others do the same. And I loved the places I served. And so I was able to serve on the Florida State campus, so I got to see a little bit of what college life was like before
Also
I came to
ACC
BYU.
country in addition to SEC.
Yep,
There we
yep.
go. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I love my mission. It was super impactful for me just growing as an individual.
Was it New Orleans for you?
So it was Baton Rouge, but we covered New Orleans.
Okay.
I served in New Orleans. That was my last area. And I loved it there. The people were amazing. The food was great. A lot different than Idaho and Utah, but I loved every minute.
All right. And by the fact that he went to Eagle High School and is from Eagle, Idaho, it doesn't hurt the Eagle nickname.
Eagle.
Yeah.
and another little known fact is that Thule served his mission in the same area at the same time as my daughter Ella. And so I was getting the inside scoop the whole time. Oh, yeah. So I can't say it on air, but afterwards I can tell you guys some stories.
Commercial break time. It's the best time on this show. What do these two guys bring to the BYU basketball program?
They bring a ton of juice, like a ton of juice. So just moments that stick in my head. It was super fun. If anybody was at Midnight Madness, to see Thule just kind of talk about, there's not that many guys who walk into the Marriott Center as freshmen and aren't a little bit intimidated by the energy in the building, and Thule just fed off it. He's going to have a really special career here. And the Eagle, his most recent claim to fame is he's our only undefeated pregame speech deliverer.
Was he 3-0 now?
Hence his run for the presidency. He can give a speech, and he crushed it on Saturday. He's 3-0 right now, and we might turn the reins over to him for every single game for the rest of the season. We're still trying to decide.
How does the pregame speech assignment rotation work?
Coach kind of just decides, and then that day you'll kind of get a text. Sometimes it's, hey, what's your record with the pregame speech? And if you're
that was my question. This Pepperdine game was huge, and so I canvassed the guy and asked them all what their record was. And Tanner was,
guy got it.
Eagle was 2-0, so we went with him, and he delivered.
Now 3-0.
And you cross sports in your speech this time, right?
Yeah, I went to a quote from Geno. It happened to be the same day that he lost in the wild card game, but we.
Geno Smith, Seattle Seahawks quarterback.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was good.
As a guy from Washington State, do you respect that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge Seattle Seahawks fan, but a bunch of my friends from back home are. So.
All right, you guys hang tight. Still on the way, it's our weekly game show segment, and you guys will be head-to-head in a test of wits and wills.
Ooh.
You ready for this?
Let's go.
All right,
I'm ready.
BYU basketball, Mark Pope continues after this. Stay with us. All right, this is BYU basketball. Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. Let's get to the fun and games portion of tonight's show. Hit it.
Let's go. Nerd Quest.
Nerd Quest.
We are playing Nerd Quest with the two Tanners, and no offense, of course. We do have nerd glasses for each of you with tape on them. So,
I'm rocking weeds with style, man.
Let's go.
And these might be keepers if you guys have a good week. We're going to lead you through the three worlds of nerddom.
Wow.
You guys look good.
There we go.
This is fantastic.
And the fact they have like the hoodies, it all comes together here.
It is the royal.
This completes the fit, actually.
I love the royal.
All right, we have three questions in each round, and the first round is Harry Potter questions.
Okay.
That's like a nerd basic. The second round, Star Wars, and then the third round is Lord of the Rings. Whether or not you guys are totally experts on this, it doesn't matter. Here we go. All right, Tanner Hayhurst, Harry Potter, first round.
Oh, no.
What are the four Hogwarts houses? House of blank. You have the four of them. There are four. Even if you get one or two, we'll be impressed.
One, maybe?
Dude,
Do you know the colors?
I read the book a long time ago. Haven't seen the movies. I didn't hear the cough.
That'd be one of them.
Gryffindor.
Okay.
Gryffindor.
Tanner's gonna help me out. We got Gryffindor. We got Slytherin. The other two would be Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
Wow.
Wow, we got it. Okay, there we go. All right, for Tanner Toolsen, what train platform leads to the Hogwarts Express?
All I know is you ran through a wall with a little shopping cart. Goes through that.
At a platform, it has a number, and it's not booting up for you, is it?
Oh, no, it's not.
Train platform
9.
9 3/4.
Yep, that
9
one.
3/4. That one. All right, Tanner Hayhurst, what is Harry Potter's position on the Gryffindor Quidditch team?
Wow. I need an assist.
So listen, right now, Tanner, we can see the monitor right here, and he's looking at himself, the Eagle is, with these glasses on and not knowing these questions. He's like, my presidential bid is over. He's seeing it up in flames right now as we speak.
This will be on posters in years to come.
I'm waiting for the Star Wars questions.
Okay, Seeker would be the answer there. Seeker is evidently a position. For Toolsen, Tanner Toolsen, if you speak parcel tongue, with what are you able to communicate?
Snakes.
Yes, nicely done. And there was no hesitation there. Let's go. I was concerned after the first round. For Tanner Hayhurst, what is Voldemort's Muggle name? His real world name, his real life name, his IRL name. Voldemort's Muggle name.
You don't know you?
I can't remember.
It was Tom Riddle.
Riddle.
Tom Riddle. Tanner had a feeling on that one.
It was
Toolson.
close.
And for Tanner Toolson, Voldemort splits his soul into pieces called Horcruxes. How many Horcruxes are there?
There are 7? 8. 7.
Yeah, both will work. 7 plus Harry, who was the secret Horcrux. So well done. Good, yeah, you guys nailed that. All right. Second round, we're going Star Wars now.
Okay,
We
hopefully
have
I
music
do a
for this
little
one, too. We have background music for Star Wars.
So, do you know about these guys? Was you part of the Star Wars crew?
Yeah.
Will you guys share with us what happened this summer?
We kind of wanted to get the team together for some activities outside of just like the workouts, lifts, and shooting and things like that over the summer. So we started a Star Wars night in the film room. We watched all 9 of the movies.
That's amazing.
Well, this is going to go well then.
As long as it's not from any like Clone Wars or anything like that, we should be good.
Okay, Coach Pope for Tanner Hayhurst.
All right. How many engines does the X-Wing fighter have?
Wow, that's actually a hard one. I'm going to go with, that's a tough question. Is it 4?
4 is the correct answer.
Yes, way to go. For Tanner Toolson, what planet does Luke Skywalker call home?
Tatooine.
Wow.
And the answer, of course, is Tatooine. There it is, no doubter. Coach Pope for Tanner Hayhurst.
How many years old is Yoda when he dies? This is impossible. There's no way you know.
Okay, come within 50 years.
900.
What?
900 nails it.
That is
well
really
done,
impressive. Nice job.
For Tanner Toolson, who built C-3PO?
Luke Skywalker.
No.
No, Anakin did.
Yes, Anakin Skywalker. Very good.
There we go.
For Tanner Hayhurst, Coach Pope.
Who kissed Princess Leia first?
Oh, Luke.
Han Solo.
Before?
Oh,
Yes.
They did kiss that one time.
Wait, isn't Princess Leia Han's sister?
No, Luke's
Oh, no, Luke's
sister.
sister. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
I got nervous. So what is happening?
For Tanner Toolson, what is the name of the Death Star's original commander?
Oh, my God.
The Death Star's original commander, old school.
The
My
original
era.
commander.
I would put $1,000 on this. You're not getting this answer. This is impossible.
The Death Star's original commander, was it?
2,000.
Oh, he's coming.
You got it.
Was it Darth Sidious?
It's Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh, no.
Grand
I
Moff
would not have gotten that one.
Yeah.
There is nobody in here that would have got that, is there?
I got you, Coach. I had
You
it.
would have got it?
I had it.
Really?
I did.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, third round. This is Lord of the Rings, and I am out on all these. All right, for Tanner Hayhurst, Coach Pope.
What was the answer to the riddle that Gandalf could not figure out to open the door?
Answer
to the riddle.
The
that opens
answer to the
door.
riddle.
Yeah.
Remember when they were on the rock wall?
Anybody?
I've seen it, but I can't.
Do you know it, Tanner Toolson?
Wow, who said that? That is impressive.
Someone in the audience said it. Speak, friend, and enter. Speak, friend, and enter. There it is.
Great.
For Tanner Toolson, who used to own the Ring of Power until Bilbo Baggins picked it up in the cave.
Smeagol.
Yep, Gollum would also work
Gollum.
for that one.
Let's
Either
go.
one, Gollum or Smeagol. Very good. For
How
Tanner
many
Hayhurst.
rings of power were made for the elves, dwarves, and men? So there's
Like
different
discussion over
numbers.
this.
There's a number for the elves, a number for the dwarves,
Oh.
and a number for the men.
13?
No, but it was.
It's a number. It's definitely
team.
a number.
It's a team.
3 for the elves, 7 for the dwarves, 9 for the men.
It's close to 13 if you combine.
Yeah, if you add them all up.
Where's Rich Harward when he would answer all of these correctly?
Tanner Toolson, what marks the end of the Third Age? And again, all this for me is like
Third Age. I'm just gonna guess when they put the ring in the volcano and destroy it.
Yes,
That's it.
perfectly
That's
done. Yes.
correct.
Wow. When Sauron is killed after the one ring is destroyed, we got to go with that as a correct answer.
Let's
Tanner
go.
Hayhurst.
In The Hobbit, what was the name of Thorin's elven sword that originally came from Gondolin?
Wow.
In The Hobbit, what was the name of the Thorin's elven sword that originally came from Gondolin? I assume I'm saying those right.
I think I'm with Greg on this one. I got no idea.
Anything from you on that? You want to steal it?
No.
Does Orcrist ring a bell? Orcrist. Horcrest.
Okay.
Interesting.
Tanner Toolsen, our last question. What is Bilbo's relation to Frodo?
Bilbo is Frodo's uncle.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now that you already gave us the answer earlier in the show.
Yes, you did. You said a relationship.
You said these words earlier in the show. What is Bilbo's relation to Frodo?
Second cousin.
Second cousin. Very good. Nicely done. We believe that our final score here is Tanner Toolsen 6 and Tanner Hayhurst 2.
Oh.
So solid efforts from both of you.
Down goes the eagle.
Rousing edition of Nerd Quest. Thank you for playing. All right, let's get back to basketball for a second. This weekend, BYU plays by the Bay. Games at Santa Clara and San Francisco. First up, Coach Pope, Broncos. Half game back of BYU in the WCC. They're fourth in the WCC in Ken Palm, third in net. Really good team with an excellent player.
Yeah, they're really, really good. They have a transfer that's coming from Illinois that's just putting up ridiculous numbers. They're huge. They're really, really physical. Herb Sendek is one of the great coaches in the country. This is going to be an incredible challenge for our guys, and we can't wait. Yes, guys?
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay, Santa Clara scored 92 in a weekend win at Pacific. That was without Brandon Pajemski, that transfer you're talking about from Illinois. Bronco breakdown, they're 15-5. Again, they score it well. Just a really solid team. Great rebounding team like yourselves, and they have a good home record. So tough test on Thursday. Saturday, it'll be San Francisco. The Dons, they're 1-5 to start league, which may be like the surprise story of league play so far is how USF struggled to open up.
Yeah, they're a great team. They have lost a couple of tough games. They've already played St. Mary's and Gonzaga and had tough games there. But they're a really good team. They're incredible. They're actually very similar to Santa Clara. They're really big. They're really, really physical. They've got incredibly dynamic guards in the backcourt. Like I said, this is the toughest road trip in our league when you put the two games together, and so it's on.
I was going to turn and say you guys could take the glasses off, but the glasses already came off. Those were not a keeper. All right, join us next Tuesday for another edition of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mountain on BYUtv and BYU Radio apps. Coming up next, we'll have social media questions for Coach Pope and the two Tanners when BYU Basketball with Mark Pope returns on BYUtv and BYU Radio. Stay with us.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years. Smith's, fresh for everyone. And by Cascade Collision Repair, serious about perfection.
All right, so we're back on BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Let's get to our social media Q&A segment. This question comes for the two Tanners. How has serving a mission blessed your life and your basketball game? We'll start with Tanner Toolsen.
Absolutely. I think serving a mission just teaches you how to live life. Teaches you a lot of lessons in mental toughness and perseverance, and continue to do what is right even when it's not always easy. And so you can translate a lot of the lessons you learn from your mission into basketball, into relationships, into life, and I think that's just been huge for me.
Great. Tanner Hayhurst.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of things that I learned on my mission that I couldn't have really learned anywhere else, and put in certain scenarios with certain people that have really blessed my life and will continue to bless my life. As far as basketball goes, we only get, 1 day a week that we can really hoop, but we used that day as best as we could. It was fun playing.
Did you still have your shot when you would go shoot?
It depended on the week. Sometimes, you wouldn't get to play for 2 weeks and you'd be like, man, I'm a little rusty. But it came back pretty quick.
I think the Eagle will always have a shot. His nickname is Klay Thompson because it's so pretty when he shoots.
We look forward to seeing you. And from Hema, producer Hema has the question, which Tanner's the best Tanner?
This one.
Best Tanner.
And they both
you
have the right answer.
Bro.
All right, looking ahead to our weekend broadcast schedule. We've got two Bay Area games this week, BYU in Santa Clara, BYU in San Francisco. And a similar setup for both games. We'll have a radio pregame 1 hour before tip at 10 o'clock Eastern, late game on Thursday night, with the game on CBS Sports Network at 11 Eastern, 9 Mountain, 8 Pacific. And then stick with us post-game for courtside coverage. Coach Pope and a BYU player joining us courtside afterward. And then Saturday at San Francisco, earlier game, 5 Pacific, 6 o'clock Mountain. Again, 1 hour radio pregame. Again, CBS Sports Network. And again, BYU Radio for the post-game. As we take another break, here's this week's trivia question presented by Cascade Collision Repair, serious about perfection. And here's our question, since Santa Clara is on the agenda. One of these former Santa Clara Broncos won 4 NBA championships as a player and 5 more as an assistant coach and executive. The other former Santa Clara Bronco became a 2-time NBA MVP and later an NBA head coach. Who are these 2 former Broncos? The answer coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back to BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Here's tonight's trivia question presented by Cascade Collision Repair. These 2 former Broncos, both accomplished in the NBA. The answers here are Kurt Rambis and Steve Nash. Rambis, of course, legendary Lakers player. Steve Nash, of course, did what he did, and both come out of that program. Pretty cool.
That's amazing.
All right, we hope it's an amazing week for you and the boys. Good luck. Tanner, thank you. Coach Pope, thank you. Let's go get 2 W's. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Sir.
All right, thanks again. Have a great week. See y'all. Good night.